Breaking the limit. Coco Gauff rises to the top, overtakes Qinwen Zheng in epic Wuhan Showdown. The sky above Wuhan crackled with anticipation. As the late afternoon sun dipped below the horizon, the Optics Valley International Tennis Center filled with a tense, electric energy. Flags waved, drums echoed, fans in blue and gold chanted in Mandarin, their voices merging into a single chorus that vibrated through the air. At the center of it all stood two of the brightest stars of modern tennis. Coco Gauff, the 21-year-old American phenom still riding the tidal wave of her U.S. Open glory, and Qinwen Zheng, China's homegrown hero, a woman whose rise from national darling to global powerhouse had captured the imagination of millions. This wasn't just another quarterfinal. It was a generational collision. Speed versus strength, flair versus ferocity, passion versus patience. And by the end of 3 spellbinding sets, Coco Gauff had once again reminded the world why she's built different. A city waiting for a queen. Wuhan, a city that thrives on resilience, had waited years for this kind of tennis. After the pandemic forced its tournament's hiatus, 2025 marked a grand return. And with it, a chance for redemption, renewal, and raw emotion. Tickets to the Gauff Zheng clash had sold out in 17 minutes. The streets outside the venue buzzed with fans wrapped in Chinese flags, holding handmade posters that read Zheng Power and Our Queen of Wuhan. Yet sprinkled among them were clusters of young fans in Gauff mode shirts, proudly waving U.S. flags and chanting her name. "I've never seen anything like this," said a local vendor selling match towels. "It feels like China versus America, but in the best way." Inside the arena, the energy was a living organism, alive, unpredictable, hungry. The opening, Zheng's fire ignites. When the players walked onto the court, the contrast was striking. Coco Gauff, cool in a sleek white and aqua New Balance outfit, headphones in, eyes forward. No smiles, no distractions. Qinwen Zheng in bright red, the color of her nation, looked serene but focused. As she waved at the crowd, a deafening cheer erupted. "Go, Qinwen." The moment the umpire called play, Zheng unleashed her game plan. Dictate early, attack relentlessly. Her first serve clocked in at 192 kilometers per hour. Her forehand, a cannon of timing and torque, immediately drew errors from Gauff. Within minutes, Zheng led 3-0. Her rhythm was crisp, her defense airtight. The crowd roared with every winner, sensing that something special was building. Gauff, meanwhile, was searching for answers. Her serve wasn't landing, her footwork felt a step late, and her usual rhythm seemed offbeat. "She looks flat," murmured one commentator. "Maybe the heat, maybe nerves, but Zheng is feeding off the crowd beautifully." At 4-1, Zheng broke again, pumping her fist toward the stands. "Let's go," she shouted, in English no less, a sign that she wasn't just here to win. She was here to send a message. First set, Zheng 6-2. Coco stormed within. When Gauff sat down after the set, she didn't reach for her towel. She just stared at her racket. Her coach, Brad Gilbert, leaned forward in the player's box, mouthing the same mantra he's drilled for months. Stay calm. Stay tough. Play your patterns. But Coco's inner voice was louder. "You're better than this. You've done harder things." She thought about her journey, the Grand Slam triumphs, the crushing defeats, the scrutiny that never seems to fade. And here she was, in Wuhan, far from home, facing a woman who had the weight of a nation behind her. That's when it clicked. The pressure wasn't the enemy. The pressure was fuel. "I reminded myself, I love this," she said later. "The noise, the chaos, the fight. It wakes me up." The turnaround, breaking the wall. The second set began with a change in tempo. Gauff started stepping inside the baseline, taking the ball early, cutting Zheng's time. Her serve percentage jumped to 81%, and her movement, that signature Gauff glide, returned. In the third game, at 1-1, Zheng hit a 176 kilometers per hour second serve. Gauff read it perfectly, crushed a backhand return winner, and roared, a primal, guttural sound that flipped the arena's energy. Suddenly, the crowd wasn't just Chinese. It was global. Fans who had cheered for Zheng began clapping for Coco's brilliance. Her defense became highlight reel material, sliding, lunging, retrieving balls no one else could. At 2-2, Gauff broke serve after a 22-shot rally that ended with a breathtaking forehand winner down the line. She looked toward the crowd, pumped both fists, and yelled, "Let's go!" The roar was deafening. "This," said commentator Pam Shriver, "is the Gauff storm. When she's in the zone, no one could survive it." Zheng fought bravely, but the American tide was rising. Gauff held serve at love twice and broke again to seal the second set 6-3. Game on. The final set, fearless hearts collide. As the third set began, the air in Wuhan fell heavier, not from humidity, but from history in the making. Both players knew what was at stake: a semifinal berth, ranking points, pride, legacy. The rallies grew longer, more punishing. Gauff's defense stretched the court like elastic, but Zheng countered with angles that defied geometry. Each point felt like a movie scene: sweat, gasp, silence, explosion. At 2-2, Zheng broke serve again, landing 3 winners in a row. The stadium thundered, the drums returned, and for a moment, it felt like destiny was leaning Chinese. But Coco Gauff didn't fly halfway across the world to lose quietly. In the very next game, she played one of the greatest returns of her career, a running backhand flick that curled cross-court, landing inches from the line. Zheng froze. The crowd gasped. Gauff broke back, then held for 4-3. The next 2 games, pure chaos. Breaks exchanged, emotions rising. Both women screaming into their towels at changeovers. At 5-5, Gauff found herself serving under pressure. Zheng pushed her to 30-40. A break point that could have decided the match. Then came the point. The legacy of a night in Wuhan. When fans left the stadium, they weren't just talking about a scoreline. They were talking about courage, the kind that refuses to yield, the kind that breathes life into a sport that thrives on heartbeats and heartbreaks. Coco Gauff had entered Wuhan as a contender. She left it as a symbol of evolution, perseverance, and the infinite ceiling of potential. "Every time I step on court," she said before leaving the press room, "I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to be better." Epilogue, breaking the limit. The phrase "breaking the limit" echoed long after Coco's final serve. It was more than a match title. It was a mantra. In the heart of China, on a humid night filled with noise and history, Coco Gauff broke through barriers, physical, emotional, and symbolic. She reminded the world that greatness isn't measured in sets or trophies, but in the willingness to rise when the odds lean heavy. And as the lights dimmed over Wuhan, the tennis world knew one thing for sure: the era of Coco Gauff isn't coming. It's already here. Final score: Coco Gauff def. Qinwen Zheng, 2-6, 6-3, 7-5. Match time: 2H42M venue. Wuhan Optics Valley Tennis Center attendance: 12,500, sold out. Quote of the night: sometimes you have to break your own limits, because that's where your real story begins. Coco Gauff, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.